The blade hummed like a dying star as Captain Elias Thorne wrapped his bloodied fingers around its hilt, the alien empress watching from her throne with lips curled in disdain, until the impossible happened and the sword screamed to life in his grasp. Elias's heart pounded against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat echoing in the cavernous chamber of the Zarathian citadel. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and ancient dust, the walls pulsing with bioluminescent veins that cast eerie shadows across the floor. He had come here not as a hero, but as a desperate man, fleeing the wreckage of his ship and the ghosts of his crew. The sword, Excalibur's echo in the stars, or so the legends whispered, was embedded in a pedestal of crystalline rock, said to judge the worthy among the galaxy's warriors. But Elias was no warrior. He was a scavenger, a pilot who'd lost everything to the void. The Empress Lyriel of Zoreth lounged on her elevated dais, her iridescent skin shifting colors like oil on water. Her eyes, multifaceted and glowing, fixed on him with predatory amusement. "Foolish primate," she hissed, her voice a symphony of echoing harmonics that vibrated through his bones. "That artifact has slain empires. What makes you think your fragile form can claim it?" Her guards, hulking figures in armor woven from Starforged silk, chuckled in low rumbles, their weapons humming faintly. But Elias pulled anyway, his muscles straining, veins bulging in his neck. Sweat stung his eyes as memories flooded him. The crash on this forsaken planet, the betrayal by his own Federation, the face of his daughter back on Earth, waiting for a father who might never return. The sword resisted, sending jolts of energy through his arms, burning like fire. He gritted his teeth, refusing to let go. And then a whisper in his mind, "Why do you seek me? What secrets did this blade hold?" Elias wondered, even as pain clawed at his thoughts. The Empress leaned forward, her sneer deepening. But that was only the beginning. The chamber seemed to hold its breath. Elias's grip tightened, his calloused hands, scarred from years piloting freighters through asteroid fields, slipping slightly on the hilt's smooth surface. It wasn't metal, not really. It was something alive, a conduit of pure quantum essence harvested from the heart of a neutron star. The Zarathians had guarded it for eons, using it as a test for their own kind. No outsider had ever touched it without disintegrating into ash. Lyriel's laughter echoed, a sound like shattering glass. "Look at him struggle," she mocked to her courtiers. "Humans, always reaching for stars they can't comprehend." She rose slowly, her form towering over him at nearly 8 feet, her robes flowing like liquid mercury. Elias caught a glimpse of her true nature then, not just an empress, but a being engineered from the DNA of conquered species, a hybrid of intellect and instinct. He pulled harder, ignoring the agony. Flashes of visions assaulted him. Wars between galaxies, fallen heroes, a prophecy of a lowly wanderer who would wield the blade against darkness. Was that him? The thought fueled his resolve. Suddenly, a crack echoed through the room, the pedestal fracturing. The Empress's eyes widened fractionally. "Impossible," she murmured. But what if it wasn't? Elias felt a surge, the sword yielding just an inch. The guards shifted uneasily, their weapons powering up. None of them were prepared for what came next. Elias collapsed to one knee as the blade slid free, not with a triumphant ring, but with a deafening roar that shook the citadel's foundations. Energy cascaded from the hilt, wrapping around his arm like a living serpent, fusing with his neural pathways. He screamed, not in pain, but in ecstasy and terror, a flood of knowledge pouring into his mind. Histories of lost civilizations, blueprints for weapons that could unravel reality, the very essence of the universe's code. Lyriel leaped from her throne, her face twisting from mockery to fury. "Seize him," she commanded, her voice cracking the air like thunder. The guards charged, their plasma lances igniting in brilliant arcs. Elias swung the sword instinctively, and it responded, slicing through the air with a trail of distorted spacetime. The first guard vanished in a puff of quantum dust, his atoms scattered across dimensions. She watched in horror as Elias rose, the blade glowing in his hand. How could a mere human bond with the artifact? It was meant for Zorathian bloodlines attuned to their superior genetics. But Elias felt it now. The sword wasn't judging worth by species, but by desperation, by the raw will to survive. His thoughts raced. This changes everything. The Empress bared her teeth, revealing rows of crystalline fangs. You think this victory? It's a curse, human. The blade devours its wielder. Her words hung like a warning, but Elias charged forward, the fight just igniting. What dark truth did she hide? Chaos erupted in the citadel. Alarms blared, red lights flashing as reinforcements poured in from hidden alcoves. Elias dodged a lance thrust, the sword guiding his movements with unnatural precision. It whispered strategies into his ear, flank left, strike high, turning him into a blur of motion. One guard fell, then another, their armored bodies crumpling like tin under the blade's edge. Lyriel retreated behind a force field, her eyes narrowing. She had underestimated him, this scruffy interloper from a backwater planet called Earth. Humans were pests, infesting the galaxy with their crude ships and endless curiosity. Yet here he was, wielding the Star Blade, the relic her ancestors had stolen from the Elder Gods themselves. "Why you?" she whispered to herself, a flicker of doubt creeping in. Elias paused amid the fallen, breathing heavily. The sword pulsed in his grip, feeding him strength, but also hunger, a growing void in his soul. He glanced at Lyriel, her sneer gone, replaced by calculation. "Surrender the blade," she called, "and I might let you live as my consort." The offer was laced with venom, a trap he could sense. But why offer mercy now? Elias realized then, she feared him. The thought sparked a fire in his chest. He advanced, the citadel trembling. Little did he know, this was merely the spark of a galactic inferno. Beyond the chamber, the planet Zorith stirred. Massive spires pierced the stormy skies, cities floating on anti-grav platforms humming with life. Elias had crash-landed here weeks ago, his freighter Nomad sabotaged by Federation traders who sold him out for Zorathian tech. His crew, loyal friends like Mara the engineer and Jax the medic, had perished in the flames. Only he survived, driven by a hollow message from his daughter, Ilera. "Come home, Dad. The stars are calling." Now, with the Starblade in hand, he felt invincible. But Lyriel's voice cut through. "You pull a sword from stone and think yourself king? Pathetic. The true power lies in control, not brute force." She activated a console, and holographic displays flickered to life, showing fleets of Zorathian warships mobilizing. Elias slashed through the force field, sparks flying. She backed away, graceful even in retreat. "What do you want, human? Riches? Power? A way home?" Her questions probed, seeking weakness. He hesitated. Home, that word pierced him. But betrayal burned deeper. "Justice," he growled. The sword amplified his voice, echoing like a god's decree. Lyriel's expression shifted. Curiosity? Respect? No. Something more dangerous. And then she smiled, a predator's grin. "Justice? Let me show you what that truly means." What horror was she unleashing? The Federation fleet descended on Zorith, massive cruisers blotting the skies. Elias and Lyriel fled the chamber. The Star Blade secured it aside. "We need to reach my throne room," she said, leading through twisting corridors lined with holographic archives. "Why there?" he asked, footsteps echoing. "It holds the Nexus, a device to amplify the blade." Her plan unfolded. Use it to repel the invaders, but at a cost. Elias's mind raced. The Federation, led by Admiral Voss, his former commander who sold him out for Zorathian alliances. Voss wanted the blade to conquer the galaxy. They burst into the throne room, guards loyal to Lyriel rallying. But Voss's voice boomed over comms. "Surrender the artifact, Thorn, or we glass the planet." Elias gripped the sword. Never. The blade awakened fully, revealing its ultimate secret. It could rewrite reality, but only once at the price of the wielder's life. The moral dilemma hit hard. Save the galaxy or return to Ilera? Lyriel saw his conflict. Choose wisely, human. But the choice wasn't his alone. What came next would shatter them both. Orbital bombardments began, shaking the citadel. Elias activated the Nexus, the sword interfacing with it in a blaze of light. Visions assaulted him. Alternate futures, one where he dies a hero, another where Lyriel takes the burden. She stepped forward. "Let me wield it. My life for yours." "Why?" he whispered, touched. "Because you showed me humanity isn't weakness. It's strength." Her hand touched his, a spark of connection. But Vasa's forces breached the walls, troops storming in. Elias refused her offer, channeling the power himself. Reality bent, ships vanishing in folds of space. The cost mounted, his body weakening, memories slipping. Lyriel fought beside him, tears, alien tears, streaking her face. "Don't," she pleaded. He smiled weakly. "For Alara. For you." The amplification peaked, repelling the fleet. But in the aftermath, Elias collapsed, the blade falling from his grasp. Lyriel caught him, her sneer long forgotten. "You surprised me, human," she whispered. As his vision faded, he saw a future, peace between worlds, Alara safe. The sword, sated, sealed itself away. Lyriel held him as he breathed his last, the citadel silent. In that moment, victory wasn't in pulling the sword, but in letting go. The stars wept for the man who bridged divides, his legacy etched in eternity.